What is going on, guys? We're gonna wait till we get some people in here. I am going to pour a drink in a minute, and we're gonna bust out the, I guess, sort of new Inquisition Maledictum RPG books, which came out by Cubicle 7. So I am super excited to bust these out, and I'm super excited to have a to pour a drink in just a minute, because I've been wanting to get these out of the way. Well, get it open. So, but yeah, so we'll wait till we get some people in chat, and then we'll start to get going. So, in the meantime, I'm gonna pour myself a drink. This is late night, so I am pouring an adult drink. That is a lot, but we got a lot to get through tonight, so we will have some fun. And this is something new that I wanted to start doing, so we're gonna see how this works, because this is the first time I'm doing it. So, and then a quick reminder to anybody else, if you guys are watching this on the replay, what's up, Pingo? Tomorrow night in Toy Hammer After Dark, I'm gonna be giving away this free Titus mini. So this came from the what was it, the encyclopedia, the Warhammer encyclopedia that just came out about, I guess, a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to be giving this away tomorrow night at Toy Hammer After Dark. If you guys want, all you got to do is join, become a subscriber, and then at the end of the show, I'll be doing a quick raffle, and I'll be giving this away. So that'll be tomorrow night. Sup, Splingo 4822. This should be fun. This should be pretty fun. But yeah, this is the collector's editions of the RPG books that came out, well, I guess probably sometime in August that these came out. So, and I'm a huge Inquisition fan, a huge Grey Knights fan, so I am hoping that we get a bunch of information about the Ordo Malleus, the Ordo Hereticus, the Ordo Xenos in here, and that's really what I am most interested in Warhammer 40K. That is kind of what I've gone to as my specific area, because there's too much Warhammer 40K stuff out there if you have a full-time job, because you could make being a lore guy just your full-time job with the 35 years of Warhammer lore. So I have just centered on what I enjoy, and I'm just going to learn as much about it, because it's a lot of fun. So, yo, what's up, Neo? What's going on? Nexipum. Dude, your name keeps changing. It was Neo. Your name was not Nexipum the last time that we did this. It was not that. So yeah. So it keeps changing. But there is so this is what we're going to go through tonight. This is going to be the Imperium Maledictum new books of the RPG books that came out, like I said, sometime in August by Cubicle 7. So this is the collector's edition. There's two books in here, which I'll open up here in a second, that are part of the RPG. So we have the player's guide rather, and then we also have the RPG guide. So we're gonna review both of those. We'll see how far we get tonight, because this is a new segment, or a new thing that I wanted to wind up doing, and I want to see how this works out. So I don't want to rush through this, because this is really me enjoying these books for the first time as well. So I want to take it nice and slow. I have a nice drink. Pour yourself a drink. We're going to relax. We're going to have some fun. It's late night. It's almost 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by me. So hopefully you guys can have some fun and chill out and relax. So I just finished up Imperial Fist Mini, and I'm quite proud of it now. So I'm just going to chill. Good. So Neo, you are in the right mindset to relax and enjoy. Pour yourself a drink, if you're allowed to drink, that is. Or get a Gatorade. Get a Gatorade or a water or a soda or something. So, but we're going to open up this in a second. This I want to show you, because we're going to get to this. I'm going to do a full normal review on these also. This is kind of like something special for you guys, if you guys want to come along with me as I do this live. But this is the RPG book of the Ordo Xenos, and this is absolutely insane. This thing weighs about 15 pounds. Inside of it is the Ordo Xenos RPG book. I believe this is from 2016, but this is all metal. And inside there's a purity like letter and steel and everything. It's awesome. Dude, this whole thing is insane. So I've wanted this for over a year. I finally pulled the trigger on it, but this we'll do at another time. But I want to show you guys this because this is probably like the relic of my man, my Inquisition collector's set that I'm gonna have. So, or collection rather. But this thing is amazing. But I want to show you really quickly this, and then what we're gonna do tonight is I'm gonna try some different views. We're not going to do this view like this because I want to be able to have you guys enjoy the book as I'm reading it. So I'm going to try an over-the-shoulder view or a side view so you guys can see the book and the pages and everything as I go through it. So we'll probably have to adjust the camera around as well as the lighting to get the best perspective so that you guys can see. So I'll probably ask you guys some questions if you guys can see, if you guys can. Also, is the music too loud too? I want to make sure of that. So what's up, Adam Brummy? I'll go get a Gatorade and a red one to be specific. Yes, go Neo. But yeah, so I got some Honey Jack, and yeah, like I said, if this turns out to be fun and you guys enjoy this, then I have a lot of other stuff, other books of Warhammer 40K lore I want to get to. I want to go through with you guys as well. Maybe we'll do some live book readings on some of the new books as they come out and see what you guys enjoy and what you guys like. So this is gonna be a very chill, relaxing stream, kind of like what my collectors rooms reviews have kind of been, right, for the lives and stuff like that. So we're gonna see how this goes, and if this is successful and you guys like it, then we'll keep moving on. We'll do some other ones, and then after we do this one, like I said, I want to do the Grey Knights. We'll just start going through the codexes. We can do the Imperium Agents Codex, the 10th edition. We can do the Grey Knights 10th edition Codex. Then we can get to this. We can get to some of the books that I have as well. So there's a lot of stuff that I have that I want to get to if this is successful and you guys like this and this works out. Because again, I don't know how well this is going to work using the phone. Like I said, I have a great Canon camera, but it doesn't have the same type of view as this does. So, and I can't do this in this type of format. So we'll see. But anyway, let me see how many people we got in chat, and then we'll start it up. Maybe turn the music down just a little bit. Sure, let me turn it down just a little bit. Let me know if that's okay, Neo. Let me know what you think, sir. Ooh. And then, like I said, for anybody who wasn't here when I announced it, I'm going to be giving away the Titus sprue from the newly released Warhammer Encyclopedia. I know that a lot of people are like, well, you know, this isn't, I have this information already, but I wanted to pick this up because I like having these type of books, especially as a new Warhammer 40K fan. I like having as much lore at my fingertips. I'm older too, so I like having these type of books. And then a lot of people are like, oh, one of the main reasons why to have it is to get the Titus mini. To be honest with you, I don't really care. Like I enjoy the minis, I do, but I enjoy the JOYTOY Warhammer 40K figures. And to be honest with you, I know that this is going to take me a while to get to the point where I would feel comfortable even painting and gluing together something like this. So again, I'm going to give this away on Toy Hammer After Dark on Sunday at 11 o'clock. Well, we'll start the show then. It will probably be an hour and a half into the show when we do the raffle for this one. So again, if you do not have a space, or you don't have an Ultramarine Titus or the newest one, then this is the perfect opportunity to get it, because I'll mail it over to you once you win it. So all right, let's take a look at the chat and see what's going on. La la la. There we go. It's subtle but ambient, and we can focus on your voice. I hope I can win. It'd be cool to get one. Yeah, I'm surprised actually, Neo, that you don't have one, especially with the amount of painting that you guys. So is the Titus Mini hard to get from other people's perspectives? Has that been something? Because I know it sounds like a lot of people don't have it, and I guess it was offered as just a. It's only been offered in special editions or like I guess one-offs and stuff like that. So you can't really just go out and buy it, I guess, unless you buy like the encyclopedia at this point. So, but anyway, we're gonna start. I'm gonna move this out of the way. And again, this thing weighs like 15 pounds, dude. This thing is amazing. When I do, if this is successful and you guys like this, then this one is going to be the amazing one. Like I said, this is absolutely amazing. It's probably the pinnacle piece, the relic of my Warhammer 40K collection. This thing is absolutely amazing. It's chained together. There's a key and everything on it. This is the Inquisition piece. So. Alright, so we're going to throw this down to the side, and we are going to try to set this up and to have the best viewing experience for you guys for this. So I have a great book stand. Actually, you know what we'll do? We'll show you guys the covers this way really quick. So again, this is the collector's edition. This is made by Cubicle 7. You can actually buy this on Amazon. I believe it's shipped from Cubicle 7. So I believe that they are also a distributor, or they have a store on Amazon. I bought it directly from Cubicle 7. I had a funny story of how I got it. They actually forgot to send out. I pre-purchased this in March and they forgot to send it to me. They had sent me a notice in August that this was coming out. And then I totally forgot about it. And then around September, I was like, oh, whatever happened to that? I looked through my email and I saw that Cubicle 7 and sent me an email saying they were going to send it out. And then I never got it. So then I contacted them. They never responded for like a week. And then I recalled the payment because I did it through PayPal. And then they immediately contacted me. And then they sent me this out. So, but again, these are awesome. I wanted, like I said, this is part of the new Imperium Maledictum RPG book for Warhammer 40K. Again, I have not read any of the RPG books before, so this is going to be something different. I used to read all of the D&D, I think it was 4th edition, Forgotten Realms books. I'm a huge Drizzt fan, so back then when the 4th edition was, they had the Forgotten Realms RPG books for the tabletop, and then they would expand upon the lore that was in the books. So I'm expecting it to be sort of the same way here, but I don't have a ton of experience with the Inquisition, so I really want to get more information. I want to get more well known and get more, I don't know, get more, I guess, better at what's going on with the Inquisition and understand it, because I know all about the Ordo Malleus and I know a decent about the Ordo Xenos and the Ordo Hereticus. So hopefully this is going to be able to pull everything in together, and it will be a fun experience for me as well. So howdy boss, just found out this stream looks interesting. What is y'all on this channel? So what is going on, Comical Sans? So this channel is a Warhammer 40K. It's kind of a newbie channel, really, to be honest with you. I got into Warhammer 40K I would say in 2021. Really, it was the video games, Battle Sector, and especially Chaos Gate Demon Hunter that really pulled me in. And then once the JOYTOY figures, which you can see behind me, came out, I'm an action figure collector, I just was completely blown away. So once that happened, then I was completely in Warhammer. I love the JOYTOY figures, I love the video games, and I am a huge Grey Knight fan. I was at Comic-Con, near Comic-Con this past, well, a couple weeks ago actually, and I was dressed as a in full power armor as a Grey Knight Interceptor. So you can see the Nemesis power sword that is up here. This is the this is not my helm that I was wearing in the cosplay. This is the Terminator helm, which is, by the way, it's probably the best Terminator helm in all of Warhammer 40K. But this is not the helm I wore. I wore a power armor Interceptor helm, which absolutely looked insane. And it was based on the action figure, or the miniature. It's based on the miniature of the Interceptor, but it's based upon the JOYTOY Interceptor figure. So that's really my journey, dude, to be honest with you. Like I said, I love everything about Warhammer 40K, especially the Grey Knights. And yeah, I stream games, talk about Warhammer 40K, do weekly or almost a couple times a week. I do either different live streams and stuff like that. I have some shorts that go up. I had another short up today, and I also have some videos going up. So again, this is me really as a new fan expanding upon what I really enjoy about Warhammer. I guess I really can't say I'm a new fan, because I've enjoyed Warhammer for about 4 or 5 years at this point, but I still feel new because there's so much stuff to it. So but tonight we're gonna break open my new Imperium Maledictum 2 books, the RPG book. So we have the Player's Handbook and we have the GM Handbook. So we're gonna bust those out. We're gonna look at the reading. I'll read through it. We'll look at the art that's in the book, and then the other thing is grab a drink because it's late at night, so we can drink. I have some honey JD tonight, so. I think the Titus Mini is only in that book, and they don't sell that in my games workshop store. Oh, wow, I didn't know that, Neo. Hit that like button. I can't be the only one to smack it. Yes, I'm going to say it because I'm going to completely forget. Because on my live streams, I generally forget to do this unless I'm on my PC live streaming Warhammer 40K or games or doing stuff like that. When I do these live streams like this, I always forget to say this. Hit the like button, like and subscribe, guys. All right, so... Oh, the other thing before we start this, I want to be able to do these live streams to also TikTok, because I think that it's pretty easy, and it would be just cool to have some more folks as part of this audience. The only problem is, to be able to do dual streaming, you need you need 1,000 subscribers, and I'm actually kind of shocked that I don't have at least 1,000 subscribers. So if you guys have a TikTok account, please subscribe to WraithMace_, because I'm trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber. I just realized it today that I can do a dual stream pretty easily with the software that I'm using. So I would like to be able to incorporate that into these live streams. So if you have a TikTok account, subscribe to WraithMace_ on TikTok, and I'll be able to stream over there as well. I throw up all my YouTube shorts that I put here. I also throw on there, as well as some extra stuff too. And again, if you're not subscribed here, make sure you subscribe here. So, and make sure you hit the like button. So, let's see. Raising my cold bottle of red Gatorade, Wraith. Cheers. Good, Neo. Very good. So we're gonna move. Actually, well, what I'll do is I'll take out the covers first, so you guys can see. So this is the collector's edition. So first, this is the collector's edition cover holder, essentially. So it's holding the 2 editions, and it has awesome art of the Inquisition on the front and on the back. You can see some of the chaos stuff that's going on as well. So this is awesome. Like I said, I think Cubicle 7, who produced these, knocked it out of the park. So I'm very interested, especially if they come out with anything for the Grey Knights. Ordo Xenos or Ordo Hereticus. I would love to have this. But anyway, so this is the holder of the 2 editions, and these are the collector's editions. So these are special edition books. So we're going to start tonight with the Player's Handbook, and this is the Player's Handbook cover. And as you can see, it's beautifully embossed. I mean, dude, it's absolutely awesome what they did with this. And then it's also, it has a instead of a gold filament or gold embossed on the pages, it's like this purplish color of the warp, but it's so nice. And then on the back side, we get some writing on here, which I'll read once we bring over the camera. But this is the collector's edition of the Player's Handbook of this one. So again, beautifully embossed, great art style. You can see the huge Inquisition sign in the middle. Looks absolutely beautiful and awesome. So I'll leave that here for a quick second for you guys to take a look at. Yo, what's up, CyberRat? What's going on, dude? All right, so this is, again, like I said, this is the Player's Handbook. This is the first one we're going to cover tonight. We'll see if we can get through both. I don't know. We'll see what we get through. So this is the Player's Handbook. Now, the other one is the GM guide. So this is the GM guide. Again, very similar to the player's handbook. This is actually a thicker book, so there's more pages to it. But again, the same exact art design, different colors on the foil on the front, as well as it's all embossed. So it's a beautiful cover. They did an amazing job with this. And then the filament on the pages for the sides, this is more of an orange color on each of the side pages. So it comes all the way around the side. And then on the back, you get different verbiage that's written here. We'll get to this once we swing over the camera and we start the top-down view, which is going to be way better for you guys to be able to watch this. So, but these are awesome. And then if you're interested, this book stand I picked up from Amazon. I think I paid like 40 or 50 bucks. 40 or 50 bucks. It's awesome. It's all wooden on the front, and then on the bottom it has this awesome metal pieces to be able to adjust the book back and forth, and also has some page holders as well. So, but again, we are going to bring the camera over here so that we can do we're going to try our best to see exactly what is the best way of doing it. If I was using my my Canon digital camera, I would be able to have a top-down view of this book, so we would be able to see it. With the phone camera, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, so I'm going to need your guys' feedback during the chat to tell me if it works or if I need to adjust it. So I have the view here to see what you guys see, but again, I want to make sure that I don't have the sound on too, so I want to make sure you guys are getting the best experience you can out of this. So, all right, so this is the GM book. We're going to hold off on that one. We're going to do the player's guide first. That's this one, and we're going to swing everything around, and we're going to move the camera over, and we're going to start this, and we're going to see how this works. And again, if you guys like this, in the future, we'll do more of these. I have so much material to cover. I have so many things that I want to get through. So again, this is an awesome book stand if you guys are interested. So you can swing it all the way around. We're going to bring it like this. We'll flip open the first page, and then I'm going to bring over the camera to be able to show you guys what I'm looking at. All right. Oh, and I might as well show you, so we have some couple new people here too. So let me switch this around. So this is the JOYTOY collection. I have a lot more figures than this. This is my Blood Angels here. So everything from, these are our older Sanguinary Guard figures, right? And then we got the Jump Pack Intercessors, and then we got the Terminators from 40K, and they're the newer versions of them, and those are the Sanguinary Priest and the Blood Angels Captain with Power Fist and Inferno pistol that we just opened up the other night. So those are them. Excuse me. And then we have Mephiston, we have some of the older Terminators, and then on the bottom there we have the Redemptor Dreadnought. And then over here, of course, we got Sanguinius in all his glory, looking awesome. And then over here we have we start to get into our Horus Heresy figures, and then we get the Contemptor Dreadnought for the Blood Angels on the bottom, Furiosa, more Blood Angel Paladins from Horus Heresy. Then we got Zephon, and then we get some more 30K figures, and then we get some of the new ones that just came out. These are the new Sanguinary Guard. And essentially I'm calling him the Sanguinary Captain. So very cool, very cool. And then also we got Dante also right here hanging out too. So very cool. And then Tyler Whirl, God got a sack full of balls. I don't know what you're talking about, but sure, why not? And then in the middle we got my favorite chapter. We got the Grey Knights, and we got them all down there. We got 2 NDKs as part of this. And then over here we have Unbelievable Angron, who's humongous. And we have all the World Eaters over here, all the World Eaters that came out. So this is all 40K. And then we got Horus, and we got that, just like we had with Sanguinius, which just a couple minutes or just a couple seconds ago, we have that alternate helm. And then we got Abaddon, Justarian Terminators from Horus Heresy. And then all the Black Legion figures that I have. Some of these are really the first run or the, I would say version 1 of the Bucks that came out, but these are awesome figures as well. So, and then also again some of the older Chaos Legion figures, and then we got the Hellbrute on the bottom, some of the older ones, and yeah, actually I missed. So actually these are the newer versions. This is the most recent version of the Black Legion figures that came out. So very cool, very cool. Peace, love, and wish you the best, brother. Horus, my favorite now. Oh, cool. Very cool. Horus is awesome, dude. They did such an amazing job. This figure came out almost, I think, a year to the day that we're talking right now. And this is my figure of the year last year. So very cool. And then last thing I'll show you guys is this is the Imperial Knight. We're going to have a better home for him soon because we have a House Raven Knight. So we have the identical, almost the identical sculpt, but with a different melee weapon. Or actually, no, it's the same melee weapon. They're both going to have power chain swords, but it's going to be a different weapon compared to his cannon that he has on the left there. So, all right, so we are going to find out the best way to, view this for you guys. And I'm going to try to set this up and see what is the best method for this. So just give me a second as I figure this out, as I have my hand over the camera there for a second. That was not good. All right, so I figure, that sucks. I'm not going to be able to use the back cameras on the phone. I'm going to have to use the front camera, it feels like. So let me swing this around, which kind of sucks because I'm not going to be able to see. I'm going to have to use the YouTube video to be able to tell what's actually going on here and to see what you guys are seeing. So, all right, so here we go. There's a delay too, so I have to wait for the delay to occur before I can tell if this is actually working. So we'll bring this up a little bit higher. Man, this is much easier on my Canon camera. But we're gonna make this work. We'll figure out a way to make this work. So, all right. I guess that's probably the best way. I can move it just a little bit. I'm trying to look on the YouTube stream to see what exactly is going to be the best view for this. So, again, that's probably a bit to the left. So we're going to have to move that a little bit. And I think that's probably going to be the best way. Let me swing it close and then we'll see. Horse is my favorite now. All right, cool. So that is the last chat. So I've not missed anything else. Very cool. All right, good. So I can see that I can open up the book and I can move it. And this is good because in the future I'll know exactly where I can situate the camera to be able to get the best view for you guys. So I believe that, which is going to pop up in just a second, is probably going to be the best view. I'll move it over just a little bit. Yeah, all right, cool. All right, so here we can see this is the Manchurian sector. This is where this RPG, I believe, essentially takes place, right? So we can see, my God, there's so many planets here, dude. And this is just one sector within Warhammer 40K. Can you imagine how much there actually is in this? It's insane, dude. So let me see if I can bring this down a little bit more. And I think that that works out a little bit better too. Let's see. Good. And I can just move this over. Instead of moving the camera, I'm just going to move the book. And I think that we're going to be good to go. Oh, almost good. Just waiting for YouTube to load. Yeah, pretty good. Again, we're missing a little bit on the sides of the book, but as we're going through it, we'll highlight the specific page that we're talking about. So again, so this is this is the sector where this is going to be, the RPG of this game is going to be taking place. The Galicia, some of these names are insane, dude. Like, I know I can pronounce names to a certain point, but like some of these names are insane. And some of the spelling on the names, because the Games Workshop does this on purpose, the way that you pronounce it is like their own way of pronouncing it. So unless you have someone telling you specifically how they want this to be pronounced, it is a crapshoot on some of this stuff. So unless you hear, like, for instance, a audiobook with an author, the way that he's pronouncing it, like, it is tough. It is really tough. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring this up a little higher. And so we're going to use my Inquisition. We're going to use my special edition as the little piece to be able to bring this up a little bit higher. We'll see if this works. No, that is not going to work. Okay, you guys will just bear with me a second as I figure out the best way to do this. Let's see. I want to add a little bit of height, so I can probably use one of my boxes. Oh yeah, I know what to do. I'm going to use my my Grey Knights, and I'll show you guys. I'm going to use this, which I still haven't painted. And I know that Lone is going to kill me for this, but I still haven't painted this. This is the Synadic Conclave, which just came out from Games Workshop for the Grey Knights. And essentially this is where they have the upgraded sprue for the Grandmaster NDK. So we're gonna have the camera sitting on that during this time, as well as to get me a little bit more height so you guys can see a little bit better. At least now I know I'll buy a better camera stand that has some more height to it so that you guys will be able to see fully. I think that's probably going to be the best. It's a little not so stable, but I think this is probably going to be the best. And then we'll just move the we'll move the book over into position. Again, next time we do this, I'll have a better idea of what we're doing with the book to be able to have the best view for this. So, did it just start? What is going on, Big O Dig? Yes, it did. You know what's so funny is so many of you guys' names changed like a week ago with YouTube. So I don't know. I don't know some of your names from normal people who jump in the chat and are normally in these YouTube videos with me. So let me drop it down just a little bit. I am a stickler for this because I want the best view possible. Again, we can switch over next time we do this to using my Canon digital camera, which is going to give us probably the best view of this. But again, we'll start on the... So again, this is the first page, so you do not miss anything. Big O Dig. Oh, it's Peter. What's going on, dude? So again, this is the Manchurian sector. I think it's Manchurian. I think that's how you pronounce it. And you can see all of the different planets that are part, or these galaxies actually. I think these are planets. Yeah, I believe these are planets. So, and this is where this whole entire RPG game takes place. One of the things that I'm really interested in this is more about the lore and the extra stuff that they have as far as part of this. So, I definitely think I want to use my my digital camera the next time we do this, because I think that you guys will have a much better experience, especially being able to see what's going on here. So this is the player's handbook that we're starting out with. We'll do the RPG book most likely the next time that we do this. So we can see from the contents, we got the Holy Orders, which I'm really interested in. So we get the Inquisition, Manchurian Inquisition, so that's where this is taking place. Perception and Propaganda, the Acolyte, Inquisitional Espionage, Know Thy Enemy, and then Know Thy Enemy, the Holy Orders, justice and jurisdiction and investigation, desperate measures and escalation. I'm really interested in this. Patrons of the Inquisition, right? We get right here, faction, Ordo Malleus. So this is going to be my Grey Knights. So this I'm very, very interested in. Very interested in. So, no, I'm not going to do any gameplay because this is just the RPG book. We're just going to go through the new RPG book that came out, and we're going to take a look at it and see. So I'd like to be able to find somebody to play an RPG game doing this. My wife DMs some games, but she is not a Warhammer 40K fan. So unless I can somehow convince her to DM a game of this, yeah, we're not going to be able to do that. So I would love to, though. I would love to be able to get a game going on this. So again, first page, the Holy Orders. Let's see. The Imperium is beset within and without by threats beyond counting and horrors beyond imagination. That it endures at all is a miracle of steadfast determination and the callous sacrifice of uncountable lives. Some of the Imperium's foes can be met head-on or unending battlefields and in the deep void of space. These threats can be cleansed by blessed Prometheum, cut down by the volleys of 1,000 las guns, or turned briefly into glittering clouds of expanding gas by a void ship's macro cannon. Other foes are stranger and more insidious, far more difficult to root out, but no less of an existential threat to the entire Imperium. The eternal vigil against such threats falls to the orders of the Emperor's Inquisition, as merciless and menacing as an organization as humanity has ever known. So what's cool about the Inquisition from my perspective, and what I used to really be into, was the old world, I guess, or what it was called back in the day was the Warhammer fantasy, right? So essentially the medieval stuff, and I was a huge witch hunter fan. So seeing some of the Inquisition models that they have, this fits perfectly into it, because some of the Inquisition agents. What's going on, OP? We got one of my mods in here. So what's going on, dude? So being able to have those models, and I want to see JOYTOY figures of those models come out in the future. That would be awesome. So I definitely want to see what they're going to do from JOYTOY's perspective once they get to having more of the Inquisition and more of the human models. I know that we got the Cadian forces, and we got the Krieg, and we also got some other ones as well. I forgot the name of them, but they're essentially part of the Astra Militarum. So once we get to some more of the Inquisition agents, that is really what I want to see. And especially because we got the Henry Cavill series coming out, and I believe that that's going to be based upon this. I think that we're going to see more human-like stories to more humanize the stuff. Plus, I think it'd be way too expensive to do Space Marines in live format for a TV series or even a movie. I think what we saw with Secret Level, I think that's the best way to do Space Marines, in my opinion. Like, we need to do, I think they should just stick with animated versions of that, and they can do like Henry Cavill's series on the Inquisition, the Astra Militarum, the Cadian forces, and so on, instead of really just trying to do Space Marines correctly when they can do it with the animation almost like real life with what Secret Level did. So that's what I would like to see. That's what I think they're also going to do in the future. So from Brian Whittingham 194, what are your thoughts on combat patrols? I bought the ultimate starter kit, which I am told basically counts as two combat patrols. So I'm not a huge miniature fan, to be honest with you. I have my own 6,000 point Grey Knight team, fully painted. I actually don't play the tabletop much at all. I haven't played it at all. But as far as the combat patrols go, I don't know. I can ask. We have a Toy Hammer After Dark show where we have a couple of professional tabletop players on usually, so I can direct that comment over to them. So I'm wanting to buy a few more combat patrols. My kids and I will play it together, but I don't want to get started with buying too many combat patrols if they are lame. So what combat patrols are you looking at? For what chapter are you looking at? For the Ultramarines? Are you looking at for... Because based upon what you're looking at, right? Because we can talk about combat patrols, for instance, for the Grey Knights, and I can tell you if they're coming with an NDK, yeah, you're going to want multiple combat patrols because you're going to want 3 of those NDKs. But if you're talking about Ultramarines, I think that one combat patrol is probably going to be enough. I think Neo probably can answer that in the chat better than I can outside of the Grey Knights. I can give you Grey Knight information. I can't tell you about the other chapters as far as combat patrols. Also NIDS, I think you're pretty safe with getting a couple different combat or a couple of combat patrols just because of how their gameplay is, as well as the what was it? What is the Tyranids? I forgot what they're called. But yeah, like I said, if you want to know any information about miniatures from a perspective of Grey Knights, I can definitely help you out. So, but moving back to the book, the Inquisitor. We are neither spies nor soldiers. We're neither spies, soldiers, nor enforcers. Yet we are all of these at once. We are whatever the Imperium needs us to be. We alone know the horrors that await mankind should the Imperium fall. So we are alone. We alone are willing to do whatever it takes to prevent it, whatever that makes us. Lord Inquisitor fight. Some of these Inquisitors I have never heard of, and I'm gonna guess that's gonna be part of the part of the story here as we're going through this, because I've listened to enough audiobooks where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm guessing with this RPG game we're gonna have a lot of, I would assume, new lore regarding the Inquisition as far as new Inquisitors. So, but the Inquisitorial Rosetta. Each Inquisitor upon their ascension forges a badge of office that admits them the highest level of clearance across the Imperium. This artifact is called an Inquisitorial Rosetta, and many of them have ingrained the Inquisitor's genetic encoding within them. I didn't know that. The Inquisitor designs the Rosetta to represent their aesthetics, history, and mission, becoming a unique identifier of their authority. Theoretically, a Rosetta can bypass any lock or barrier, physically or bureaucratic, that gets in the way of their investigation. The only barrier it cannot bypass is fickle human behavior. So what's funny about that is I had a couple of on Etsy of the Inquisitorial Rosettas created. I didn't know that they can actually make their custom own. I would assume that it has to stay within the bounds of what the design of the Inquisitorial Rosetta is supposed to be, right? Because essentially here's a couple of different ones that as far as like different colors of the Rosetta. So we have the blue and the gold one, and these were actually pretty expensive to make. This is the standard colors of the Inquisitorial Rosetta that you're going to see, which is the essentially like the bronzish color with the red and kind of a black outlining. The one that I'm wearing right now, which I'll show you on the camera, is kind of what I would assume, because again we have the Ordo Malleus, and with the Grey Knights I would assume that they would be wearing something along the lines of this. I know on their armor you would see a lot of the standard colors, but I had this one made also. So, and again, these are all steel. These are really good. I can give you the name of the person who made them for me in Poland and then sent them over to me. So this one is an all gray one. This is the standard color of the Inquisition, which is that red and bronze, and then this is the bronze and blue. So I would assume with what they're saying with the Inquisitorial Rosetta, they're not going to change the style of the Rosetta. They're just going to change more or less the colors to fit, because what you would want as a Inquisitor is to be able to go to some crazy world and be able to show your Rosetta, and then they would immediately comply because they would know what would happen if they didn't. So even though that they're saying that they could have a custom Rosetta here, I would assume that they're just talking about the colors, right? I don't think that they're really changing the design of what this is, because it's such a known design out there. That's what I would assume anyway. So partners can create their own Inquisitor patron in Chapter 2. There are some sample Inquisitor patrons available in the Inquisitor's GM guide and on the Cubicle 7's website. So again, we'll get to the GM guide and we'll see what they're talking about as far as additional stuff. But yeah, so this is pretty cool. I didn't know this about the Inquisitorial Rosetta. I assume that they would all be this type of style and color across the board, but it makes sense, I guess, as long as they're keeping the same style of that, so they could show that, so it would be well known to everybody. Yeah, I would assume that they're talking about kind of exactly what I'm showing you here with the different colors, but they wouldn't really change the style of the Rosetta. So I'm thinking I want, so from Brian Whitman, I'm thinking I want works and maybe another faction. The idea is me and the kids play a few games a week, but having the ability to change up the matchups. Thanks for answering, and Warhammer lore is pretty dang cool. Yeah, what I would say, so if you guys are if it's just you and your kids that are playing Warhammer, what I would recommend is playing Kill Team. Kill Team is more or less like 4 units that you're playing. You can play really any faction or chapter in Kill Team. You can play the Grey Knights too. And you're only controlling a couple of different, I think they're restricted to the units that they can play, but you're only playing 4 units, so you can get some pretty decent games in, as well as you can have more strategic individual close combat fighting with those individual 4 units that you're using, a la like Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. That's what I feel like Kill Team plays like. So, and the other thing is I know that some people have tried to play Kill Team with JOYTOY and McFarlane figures, so that's another fun thing. So but yeah, like I said, there's a couple different ways of playing it, Brian, but like I said, it's all to how you're gonna have fun with it and what you enjoy. Again, I'm not a huge enjoyer of the tabletop. I like the lore, I like the video games, and I like the JOYTOY figures. That's really what I most enjoy about Warhammer 40K. And what's awesome about this, oh, and I guess I have to add cosplay into that, because I'm walking around as a Grey Knight Interceptor. But that's what's really cool about Warhammer, is that you have so many. It's like before D&D became kind of crappy. You have so many different venues and areas that you can go into, and I feel like Warhammer even has more, just because the JOYTOY action figures are so amazing, and they just came out with those, as well as I feel like with D&D it's a different bag. Like Warhammer, you're playing in the one particular lore setting. With D&D, you can play Dragonlance, you can play Forgotten Realms, you can even play your own custom world setup. In D&D, you're playing in 40K, you're playing in 40K, or you're playing in the Horus Heresy. So those are the 2 timelines that you're playing, or universes that you're playing in. And that's why this lore is so cool, because it can expand to whatever you enjoy and whatever you like. So that's what excites me so much about being able to pick up these different type of books, and just really read into it, because anything that I'm reading and I'm learning about from a lore perspective is going to carry on to other aspects of what I enjoy. So for instance, I'm learning more about the Inquisition right now, which is what I wanted to do, and that's going to carry into when the Inquisition game comes out by Owlcat Games next year, right? They did Rogue Trader this year, or I guess 2 years ago it came out, and they're doing another game based upon the Inquisition, and that's supposed to be coming out next year. So everything that I'm reading about here and everything that I'm learning about is going to expand upon my experience when that Owlcat game from the Inquisition, for the Inquisition, comes out next year. So, and I'll be live streaming that game too. I'm going to name a bunch of the people from my Discord. I'm going to name them characters as we go through that game, and we'll have some fun with that as well. But again, I'm going to get off my pulpit now, and we'll get back to the book. But that's really what I find enjoyable about Warhammer 40K. Especially after coming from Star Wars and everything that's happened in the last couple of years. More than the last couple of years now at this point. But what has happened with that franchise as far as what's changed. And I know Warhammer 40K fans, longtime fans, complain about some of the lore changes and stuff that's going on. But dude, it is nothing compared to what they did to Star Wars. Boba Fett turned into a bitch. Okay? Nothing like that has happened within Warhammer 40K, at least to my knowledge, other than removing Khal Dragor from the Grey Knights for the 10th edition Codex, which, by the way, we'll go through and we'll talk about. And I think that there's a greater idea that idea there they're going to do with the 11th edition, and I don't think that's the end that we saw of Khal Dragor, and that also comes from some chat that I had with the Games Workshop guys at Comic-Con, because a couple of them are huge Grey Knight fans. And by the way, Henry Cavill is a huge Grey Knight fan also. I have proof. You can go to my YouTube shorts and you can search Henry Cavill Grey Knight fan, and there he is saying he's a Grey Knight fan. So let me see what else is going on. I was supposed to say orcs, not works. Oh, okay. We still play D&D, but I use 3.5 rule still. Yes. What's up, Lone? I'll sub. You have some cool things coming up. Yeah, like I said, Brian, there's some fun stuff coming up. I also want, if you have again, guys, if you guys have a TikTok account, I know this sounds stupid, but if you have a TikTok account, please subscribe to me, WraithMace _, because I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, because when you're at 1,000 subscribers, you can multi-stream your content. And I would like to be able to do this mobile type of live streams, stream it over to TikTok, because it's an easy thing for me. All I have to do is press one more button, and that's it. And then I'll have an extra chat open for people who drop in from there. So again, if you are a fan, if you have a TikTok account and you would not mind following me on TikTok, I would greatly appreciate it. I think I'm at like 220 subscribers on TikTok, even though I post goddamn videos there all the time. But like I said, I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers so I have access to the live dual streams for YouTube and TikTok. So, all right, so let's move on a little bit. And I appreciate it. Thank you for subbing as well, sir. Again, guys, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. All right, so this is, again, these are the Inquisition Rosettas. We just went through, and we went through that little bit of a passage there where essentially they're saying that their genetic code is essentially in each of these Imperial Rosettas, so they're able to bypass or use it to get where they need to get. So it's essentially like a it's their all in identity card that they're part of the Inquisition. So I think that's pretty interesting. But again, like I said, I don't think that they're able to customize their Rosettas in the fact that they're going to change the actual design of the Inquisition Rosetta, because it's so well known, and I would assume throughout the galaxy, whenever you're seeing this particular design come up on somebody, then you're going to be running in the opposite direction. So the Inquisitors, so in legend, as Inquisitors' authority is second only to the Emperor himself, their holy duty is to identify and resolve threats within the Imperium. Psychers, mutants, and rebellion, corruption, Xenos entities, and even traitors' incompetence fall under their jurisdiction. None are beyond their reach or above their scrutiny. Even the most resolute, including the High Lords of Terror, are all vulnerable to the corruption and failure. Ambition and greed can cause immeasurable damage alone, but worse, they provide fertile soil for the ruinous powers to fester. So this is pretty interesting, because one of the things that happened with the 10th edition Codex this year for the Grey Knights is the change of the Terminus decree. So the Terminus decree for the Grey Knights, and you guys have probably heard this, was essentially previously it was very mysterious, right? It was very mysterious what it actually was. A lot of people thought it was essentially a genetic bomb, right? To get rid of all of the Space Marines if something ever happened. Let's say Abaddon ever made it to Terra, right? And they were worried about him taking over or something like that happening. They would essentially have the ability to activate the Terminus decree, which would essentially be, I guess, like I said, a genetic bomb, which would essentially, or a virus bomb that would target the genetics of any of those who are Space Marines, right? And so it would wipe them out, but it would also wipe out the Grey Knights. So there was a give and take to being able to have this type of weapon which the Emperor created, right? That would be the end all. And that's what it was generally assumed that the Terminus decree for the Grey Knights was supposed to be. But in this 10th edition, they came out and they changed it, and they're saying now that the Terminus decree is essentially the Emperor leaving a note telling the Grey Knights his greatest weapon, and don't give me that Custodes bullshit, because they changed the Custodes lore in 2016 to be something more than standard Space Marines. Okay, the Grey Knights forever were the Emperor's greatest weapon until they decided, Games Workshop, that they needed to have the Custodes as a playable army in the tabletop, and then that's when they changed the lore to make the Custodes crazy, okay, and all powerful essentially. It wasn't always like that. But anyway, I'm gonna get off my high horse with that. So the Grey Knights Terminus decree now is, like I said, the Emperor leaving a note to the Grey Knights saying essentially, if he ever comes back, to put him back on the golden throne, which he's supposed to be on. So if he's ever reincarnated, or if he's ever comes back alive outside of the venue of what essentially is a corpse emperor right now sitting on the golden throne, then the Grey Knights are supposed to pick him up and throw him back on that golden throne. Now, there's a lot of discussion as far as like if the Grey Knights could actually do this, right? And so it's a good thing that we're talking about the Inquisition and we're looking at this book, because how I view the Terminus decree and how it would go down essentially is, if there was a returned emperor, right? That means that the government, corrupt or whatever you feel like the Inquisition is, and the High Lords of Terra, they would lose power. They would definitely lose a semblance of their power, if not all of their power, over what is going on with the Imperium. So it would behoove the Inquisition to find a way to remove this new emperor, right? So if you're the Inquisition and your Ordo Malleus comes to you and says, by the way, guys, I have this note from the Emperor when he created the Grey Knights at the end of the Horus Heresy, that if he ever comes back, we're supposed to put him back on the Golden Throne as a corpse emperor, right? That's essentially what they're saying. Now, the Inquisition would be overjoyed to hear that. So the Inquisition would 1000% help the Grey Knights. The Grey Knights would not just run in willy-nilly to fight the Custodes, to fight the Sisters of Silence, and get their asses kicked because they have no idea how to fight with strategy. For God's sake, these are the guys who took down Angron multiple times and have had multiple fights on Armageddon, okay? So I'm not even going to say I don't think. I know for a fact that from a lore perspective, The Grey Knights would not just run up to where the Emperor is brand new and teleport in and try to do whatever. They would bring the Inquisition into it. They would know that this would be something that would be crazy that they would have to accomplish. The Inquisition would implant their own ideas of maybe we would have another type of rebellion, something along the lines of the Horus Heresy, right? Where I would assume the High Lords of Terra and the Inquisition would rebel against this new Emperor from the shadows to start. And then they would create a lot of strife, knowing in the back of their mind they had the Grey Knights available at the most opportune time that would present themselves, right? And so that's what would happen. That's from a lore perspective, how the Terminus Decree would run in. And it's kind of funny that you have a lot of these lore YouTube channels who can explain what I just broke down in 10 minutes in one video, as far as how the Terminus Decree would actually happen. And from a lore perspective, what has been handed down to us from different writers from Games Workshop for years, and how this would work. The Grey Knights are not stupid. They're not retarded. They're not just going to run into the Custodes and the Sisters of Silence and get their asses kicked. They would use the Inquisition. They would use their powers from that perspective, and they would set up the perfect opportunity to do this. They took out Angron multiple times, okay? They're not going to just run in. They set traps for Angron on Armageddon. They know what they're doing. So again, from my perspective, I don't like what they did with the Terminus Decree. The new Terminus Decree. I like the old Terminus Decree, right? Because it was more mystery, and like we never really thought like this would actually occur, but it was cool that they had this. Now the only thing I could think of is if in the 11th edition, if they actually do something like this, and that's kind of the storyline, and they throw the entire Warhammer 40K on its ear, right? Where we're going to have essentially a new Horus Heresy as part of what's going on. So I don't think that that's what's going to happen. Again, I think that this is kind of a throwaway thing with that. But yeah, so I'm going to stop talking about the Terminus Decree, and we'll get back into the Inquisition book. So, what is the title to the book we're looking at? Sorry for interrupting. No problem. But the Golden Throne is failing, so where are they going to put him? They would stick him back on the Golden Throne, Brian. Doesn't matter. He's supposed to be sitting on the Golden Throne. So this is the cover of the book. The name of the book is the Imperium Maledictum RPG books. This is the Inquisition Collector's Editions. So there's the Player's Guide, which we're going through right now, and there's also the GM Guide. And these are special collector's editions, which is why they have these awesome embossed covers on them. So you can get the standard Player's Guide from Cubicle 7 now. But again, these are the special collector's editions that came out. So, all right, I am going to get off my high horse, and we're going to keep moving through the rest of this book. So, Inquisitors are terrifying individuals. In many cases, they are just as unnerving as the inhuman enemies they hunt. The burden of power they must wield is staggering. If their task suits them, Inquisitors can call on the resources of an entire world. Space Marine chapters, Astra Militarum, Adeptus Sororitas, and even Imperial Assassins are at their beck and call. And this kind of goes into what they have available to them from the Ordo Heretis, the Ordo Malleus, the Ordo Hereticus, and the Ordo Xenos, right? So they have Death Watch, they have the Grey Knights, and they have the Sisters. So they have available, they have Space Marines essentially available to them depending on what they're going after. So, but Inquisitors know they must tread carefully with their authority. As much as they know their enemies, they understand the duplicitous nature of the Imperium's factions and political landscape. Resources are finite, influence is never a guarantee, and bureaucracy always delays. Most Inquisitors prefer to operate from the shadows, employing acolytes and deniable assets to operate with utmost discretion. Ascending to the position of an Inquisitor is no simple task. It takes decades to build up networks of operatives, gather influence within the Adeptus Terra, and know their enemies as well as to risk corruption. Most have already proven themselves across the foes of the Emperor in one way or another, as battle-hardened warriors, battle fleet generals, or indomitable psychers. Others may rise through an Inquisitor's retinue via a direct apprenticeship as their interrogator. An Inquisitor's most trusted and capable acolyte, inheriting the position and power upon their mentor's demise or when their master considers them ready for elevation. It is a terrible truth that most Inquisitors die in service to the Emperor, survive long enough to succumb to radicalized ideas, or become corrupted by the ruinous powers they fight. What's actually funny about this is in Chaos Gate Demon Hunters, the Inquisitor, who essentially, we just started a playthrough last night that's my favorite game of all time. It's essentially the Grey Knights coming back from a mission, and an Inquisition agent hails them and stops them on their way back to Terra for repairing their ship after a long campaign. And so this particular Inquisition agent, not to spoil the rest of the game, but she winds up becoming corrupted at the end of the game, and she winds up giving up her life, and yeah, she gets killed and becomes like a speck in Nurgle's garden or something. It's actually pretty horrible, a horrible way to go. So let's see. So what's the D&D version of Warhammer? So that's the D&D. Yeah, I would pretty much. About to play the PTS. Oh, cool. Let me know what you think, Lone. So Lone is talking about the PTS for Space Marine 2, which we also play on my channel, and I play with our Discord members. I have a Discord server. If you guys are interested in joining, all you have to do is follow me here, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then also follow me on Instagram. Message me on Instagram, and I'll send you the invite for the Discord server. So, and it's a fun time. So, the threats they face are so beyond reason that the fear and antipathy they spread is a necessary evil of their work, all in service to the Imperium. Inquisitors know their duty must be unwavering, and mercy is a luxury no one can afford. No threat within, without, or beyond would hold back from eradicating humankind if it gained a single foothold. They know that they know that if one planet falls, certainly the next will, and so on, until hundreds of worlds and billions of lives are lost. And that kind of goes into like what happened in the Emperor's Gift, which was the first accounting of what happened with Armageddon, right? Essentially, chaos took over that planet. The Inquisition came. Space Wolves came. I think the Space Wolves were there first, actually. The Inquisition came. The Grey Knights were called over as well. Angron showed up like a piece of shit. And the Grey Knights wound up taking out Angron and sending him back to the warp. And then the Inquisition decided that because all of the citizens had seen chaos, all of them need to be cleansed, right? Because the whole idea of grimdark and so on, one of the main principles of chaos and what's going on from that perspective is that normal humans are not supposed to know that chaos exists, right? Even so, they're not supposed to know that the Grey Knights exist. That goes without saying, but they're not supposed to know that chaos exists, and that was one of the decrees from the Emperor. The Emperor thought that if humans didn't know that chaos and the demons or the warp existed, essentially, that they would not be open to corruption. Now, there's a way to argue that might be true or might not be true, but what essentially happens is the moment that that humans find out that the devil is real, a lot of them are willing to give up something to get the power of the devil, essentially. So they're giving up their humanity to get the power of one of the chaos gods and be a part of the warp and so on. So there is validity in that, and there is validity in what the Inquisition does, right? It's just, I don't know, it's kind of like if you look at like, for instance, the most recent or the best Marvel movie storyline that happened with Thanos, right? Where he was essentially wanted to remove half of the life in the universe because there was not enough resources for it, right? You can argue that that's actually a pretty good way of looking at things, and maybe, unfortunately, not the best way of going about it, but it's a idea that kind of makes sense, right? But then you look at what you flip it around, you look at the Inquisition, and essentially they had an entire planet for the first battle of Armageddon, on this planet Armageddon, and they decided that, yeah, like, all these humans are going to leave this planet, most likely, a lot of them will. They're going to go to other planets, and they're going to tell the story of what happened on Armageddon. That, yeah, the devil's real, hell's real, and by the way, you can get like this, we saw these crazy things happening, and by the way, my brother on Armageddon decided to become a cultist, and he got all this crazy power, but he grew another head, right? And some people are like, oh, okay, I'll grow another head as long as you give me that power. So from the Inquisition's perspective, yes, it makes sense, because what could happen and what could spread, and what is the Emperor's decree is that he's trying to, before he, succumb to the end of the Horus Heresy, he's trying to stop the spread of chaos, right? And the corruption of humanity. That was the biggest thing. And to be honest with you, that's the biggest threat to the known galaxy in Warhammer 40K and the Grim Dark is chaos, right? There's Tyranids, there's Xenos threats, and so on, but chaos is the one that presents the most hard way of looking at dealing with the threat, right? Because you can send the Ultramarines to deal with a Tyranid invasion, but the Ultramarines are like, they're unequipped to deal with an invasion by Angron, right? And demons and stuff like that. You have to have specialized units and specialized teams to be able to deal with that level of threat. They might be able to deal with, some world eaters here and there, or maybe some little tiny demonic incursions, but when you're talking about a greater demon or a Primarch demon prince coming to a planet, yeah, that's a different story, and that's why you need to limit what people know. And then on the other hand is also to have the greatest weapon, which is the Grey Knights. By the way, this is going to be a Grey Knight propaganda session, so I just want you guys to know that. So look at the chat. Cool. Yeah, so Lone, let me know what you think about the PTS on the Discord, and let me know if there's any changes that you notice that really are big from your perspective that have changed. So alright, so I can already tell you we're not even going to get through this whole book, because I keep talking about other shit. So we're going to move on to the next page. Philosophies. You know what I want to do? I want to jump over to the section that I wanted to look at, and we'll go page by page through the art so you guys can see it, because there is some reused art in this book from Warhammer, but there's also some new art. So, and a lot of this, you can see, I wanted to get to the Ordo Malleus, and I also wanted to see what kind of classes they have to play in this game. Because if you're looking at this in a perspective to compare it to like a D&D player's handbook, obviously you have the classes in there. Everything from a monk, a warrior, it's a fighter, not a warrior, fighter, a druid, a ranger, a rogue. So I'd be interested to see what the classes are like in this game, right? And to see what exactly is a setup, because I've never played or even read through a book that is an RPG game for Warhammer, but I would assume it plays very similar to D&D, which majority of people have at this point played, especially in this new age when stuff like that is acceptable. So let's see. So this does not look like the perspective of where the classes are. The Acolyte. When Inquisitors are the iron will that refuses to bow to enemies of mankind, and the cunning mind who has plans thwart foul heretical schemes. Their acolytes make up the rest of the Inquisitor's might. They are the sinew and muscle that execute the plan, the nervous system that ensures all limbs act in concert, and the mouth that gathers support or suppresses dissent. They are often specialized, unassuming, somewhat deniable, and largely expendable. An acolyte's duties do not offer excellent prospects for their futures. Many who serve are damned to begin with. They face the Imperium's worst enemies at every turn, horrors that can unveil the mind or confront them with fates worse than death. As such, very few survive for long, and most die horribly in the dark. That's great. The Imperium will never celebrate their names, but acolytes should know that their sacrifice is necessary for the Imperium to survive. Creating your acolyte begins in Chapter 3. In Chapter 4, you can grant new and existing characters with talents and psychic powers and outfit them via the Inquisitorial's armory in Chapter 5, I guess that is. So I guess that you get, in this game, when you're an Inquisitor, you get acolytes, kind of like, I would assume, like pets in D&D, in a way. I would assume that that's what they're talking about here. Origins. I was a farmer for most of my life. We didn't know the Xenos were already there, living among us. Oh, I guess that this is the, what the hell are they called? It's the Tyranids that, what are they called? It's the Tyranids that implant themselves into a society, and they grow from within. Oh man, it's a playable unit in the goddamn tabletop. Totally forgot what they're called. I needed to learn all I could about them to lead the fight. I had no choice. When the Inquisitor came and purged the Xenos from our land, they spared my mind from being purged too. Said I knew the enemy too well, and that my fight continues elsewhere. So they didn't purge this dude, and they turned him into an acolyte because he knew how to fight the Xenos threat that the Inquisitor was going to have to deal with, though. So, Inquisitors recruit their acolytes from among any of the Imperium's organizational or agencies, or from those they encounter during their investigations. The assets, informants, and casualties of the heresies they hunt, who greatly impress them with unique or unspoken qualities. So those are the ones who become acolytes. Many individuals relish the opportunity to hand over a specialist from their faction, believing it can curry favor with the Inquisitor, or thinking they can plant a loyal spy into the holy orders, while others resent assets being commandeered altogether. Regardless, it is rare for an acolyte's call to be refused by their faction or patrons due to the Inquisitor's limitless authority. Some are recruited directly from the I've never heard of this, Scaloria Prognacium, particularly for those who exhibit the rare qualities of an Inquisitor in training. So, unique comic word, gene-coded encryption. Oh, this is pretty cool. So this is an encryption from an Inquisitor to, I guess, the Acolyte. And that's fun. Alright, so let's move on a little bit, because I want to get over to, before we close this out tonight, I want to get over to the Ordo Malleus. Because I don't think we're going to be able to get to the classes, or, here we go. The Holy Orders. This is what I want to see. Hereticus, faith is my shield. Malleus, zeal is my sword. Xenos, hate is my spear. Inscription upon conclave chamber doors. Marius Sinus Solic. Although Inquisitors primarily operate as individuals, most belongs to a holy order that defines their primary targets, general mission, and access to highly restricted resources. The Ordo Hereticus, Ordo Malleus, and Ordo Xenos represent the Imperium's most significant threats and categorize the Inquisitors within by their mission and specialties. For the Inquisitors to be a part of a holy order does not place extra burden upon their shoulders, wrap a chain of command around their necks, nor lessen their authority in any way. The holy orders are better defined as an association of equal individuals who freely collaborate to share information or pursue a common target. Inquisitors know that much organization or over-collaboration can restrict their authority and further complicate their missions. Inquisitors rarely agree on the exact method of achieving their goals, even under the banner of the same order. Inquisitors can quickly come to a clash in philosophy or risk leaking secrets that could facilitate their demise. This I've seen in a bunch of the audiobooks that I've listened to, specifically regarding the Inquisition. You see this a lot of times with differing philosophies, like they're saying here, to deal with a threat, right? And like they are cutthroat, the Inquisitors, even amongst themselves. I was listening to an audiobook recently regarding Inquisition assassins, and essentially the assassins wound up fighting and killing each other. They wound up they took care of the mission for the most part, but then they had a problem with each other and they wound up killing each other. So again, even within the Inquisition, there is nothing that is safe among each other, right? So you're going to have agents constantly fighting and killing each other. So let's see. Acolytes should also be aware of conclave, secretive in-person meetings between various Inquisitors brought together under the banner of a particular sector or gathered by shared experience. In practice, any Inquisitor can call for a conclave, and their brethren should do their best to answer the call, yet attendants may rely upon the trustworthiness or respect of others have for their investigator. Alright, so Order Hereticus. Inquisitors of the Order Hereticus fight against corruptive elements hidden inside the Imperium, the enemy within. Otherwise known as the Emperor's Witch Hunters, that's awesome, and most numerous and standing among the Holy Orders, is their holy duty to capture or eradicate rogue psychers, mutants, and traitors, stamping out abhorrent faiths before they can run rampant. Each Order Hereticus Inquisitor is just as sinister and feared as those they hunt. Their arrival on any world is met with much trepidation and awe, as none know where their gaze may land, upon whom their suspicions might fall. Their eyes watch the Adeptus Terra fiercely, especially where those institutions have suffered corruption in the past. An Andronite Inquisitor will have informants everywhere, especially within these organizations, whom may serve as future agents if they prove their loyalty. They also have close ties to the Adeptus Ministorum in fighting corruption, reinforcing aspects of the Imperium Creed. With the people's eyes upon the ecclesiarchy, the Inquisition recognizes them as a powerful tool for spreading propaganda and encouraging the citizenry to surveil their neighbors. Puritan Hereticus Inquisitors won't tolerate any mention of heresy, watching their acolytes as closely as they would their enemies. Some might barely tolerate the existence of sanctioned psychers within the Imperium, and may think abhumans as another form of vile mutation. I wonder what they think about the Grey Knights. Radicals may as well be more nuanced and see value in exploiting Hereticus they hunt, or their methods. They might allow a cult to continue operating under careful surveillance, or on the hunch that its activities lead to a greater evil operating in deep cover. They think it's worth stabbing corruption in its heart, even at the expense of collateral damage. Now, here we go. This is what I wanted to hear. Ordo Malleus. Inquisitors of the Ordo Malleus are the Imperium's first line of defense against the enemy beyond. Unimaginable entities and demons of the warp, whose only purpose in our world is to corrupt, destroy, and feast on the souls of the damned. Known as the Emperor's Demon Hunters, the Ordo Malleus is tasked with purging demonic activity, preferably before any full-on warp breaches occur. Time is always of the essence. Too late to stop such a catastrophe, and they must face the resolute tide of horrors and escape demons at any cost. Very, very cool. The very existence of this holy order is a highly classified secret, even to other members of the Inquisition. To operate out in the open and better guard their secrets, the Ordo Malleus Inquisitors often take on the guise of Ordo Hereticus or Xenos Inquisitors. But when the time comes, these accomplished warriors, many of whom were powerful psychers, march to war clad in sanctified power armor wielding ancient blessed weapons. Yet these Inquisitors and their acolytes stand alienated from the rest of humanity. Their knowledge and abilities are as much a strength as they are a lightning rod for monsters they hunt. This is interesting because this passage directly talks about there was a comic series that came out in 2017 and there was 4 chapters to it, and I believe it was 4 or 5 issues. I think it was by Titan Comics, if I remember correctly. Actually, I can tell you right now. And one of the things that happened in that was that there was an Inquisitor, and I guess she was part of the Ordo Malleus, because here it is. I'm going to bring these over really quick. I have the individual issues of these also, but these were actually pretty expensive to get. So these are... essentially, it's about this Inquisitor who is right here, right? And there's Grey Knights all over. This is the final of the 3rd chapters. These are the other, was this number 2? This is the 2nd chapter, which had, again, I think it was about 4 or 5 issues. And this is the first one. So essentially, it's about the Dark Angels and them having their side of their chapter or their legion, that during the warp, they became corrupted and so on. This particular Inquisitor agent, she had something happen to her regarding or because of the Dark Angels. So she holds a massive grudge against them, and she feels that the Dark Angels are actually chaos infused, and they're very secretive about their stuff that's going on. So she harbors a lot of resentment for the Dark Angels. So a lot of what happens in these 3 books is because of her and her, essentially her crusade to uncover and to show that the Dark Angels are actually chaos, right? They're chaos corrupted, and she wants to show that, essentially. What's funny, though, is as these books go on, and it's all about, you see a lot of Dark Angels, there's some Harlequins that are in these books, but the very end is when they bring the Grey Knights into it. And what's awesome about this is, I think I can show you, I sent one of the covers of this book, of one of this issues, to get graded, because I have the comic. No, they don't have it here. Maybe on the back. It's a really famous art piece, or cover art, of a Grey Knight Terminator. Oh, here we go. It's a very famous cover piece of a Grey Knight Terminator, and I want to show you this here in a second, because this has to do with that passage, with what they're talking about, this one too. But here it is. So I sent this at Comic-Con this year. I have this issue, and I sent this over to be graded by the CGC, so the comic graders, essentially. But this is an awesome cover, and this was I think this was issue 1, 2, 3. So this is issue 9. So maybe it was 3 issues in each. So this was the first issue of this particular set, but this is an awesome, awesome art piece. This is one of my favorite art pieces of the Grey Knight Terminators. It looks so absolutely awesome. And you can see here is a cover from the Harlequins, which are also not in this particular, I don't think in this particular set, but they're in here. But when they're talking about Ordo or Inquisition Ordo Malleus agents running around in power armor is what they're implying here. There's actually a section of this book that actually she does. She grabs it looks like Terminator armor for the Grey Knights, and she jumps in it and starts kicking the shit out of people. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, since when did the Inquisition have access to this type of armor and gear? But essentially, I guess that they do have essentially Terminator armor. I knew that they had power armor, but I didn't know that they had this level of armor and access to them. So this was interesting to read this, and she winds up getting killed at the end, spoiler alert, but it's very interesting. Read all three of these books, and I think, what was this, Titan Comics? Yeah, this is Titan Comics. This came out in 2017. Again, these are actually pretty expensive graphic novels, which house all of the issues in them. I think I paid like $40 a piece for these. These are expensive. And I bought a couple of the individual issues. But it's interesting because this goes specifically into that, where they have access to... Dude, they have access to Terminator armor, which is pretty crazy. So, again, the Ordo Malleus Inquisition agents have access to some pretty heavy gear and heavy equipment. So, Puritan Ordo Malleus Inquisitors, that's interesting, strive to be incorruptible vessels of the God Emperor's righteous fury. However, those among the Puritans who do not recognize corruption as inevitable are bound to turn radical without foreseeing their fall. Radicals among that Ordo Malleus recognize the potential of capturing demons within hosts, oh God, or weaponry to use their powers against their diabolical kin. They read forbidden tomes and consult with prescribed augurs, witches, or other sources to divine their means to vanquish their foes. That's what wound up happening in Chaos Gate Demon Hunters with that particular Inquisition agent. She wound up like so getting into fighting that particular threat that she like physically got really messed up as you're going throughout the game, and you can see her change as she's trying to come to a way to fight or finish off this threat, but she winds up being corrupted. So this goes right into that. They deem all this is a necessary escalation of power against such an indeterminable foe. Most discount their inevitable corruption that will swallow them up when the scales finally tip in their enemy's favor. Absolutely. That's exactly what happened in Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. So, Ordo Xenos. So this is the Death Watch. This is what everybody remembers from Space Marine 2, when Titus was essentially kicked out of the Ultramarines, and that Inquisitor agent pretty much took him and kidnapped him for a couple of years, and then he went over to the Death Watch, and that's where he stood for a while. So that was pretty interesting. But Ordo Xenos. Inquisitors of the Ordo Xenos are charged to combat the enemy without. The filthy Xenos that attempt to invade, corrupt, and plunder the holy Imperium of man. Their ultimate ideal is to assert and safeguard humanity's total domination above all things alien. Inquisitors of the Ordo often dedicate their lives in service to combating a single species above all else. So I'm guessing that you're going to have Inquisitor agents who specialize specifically in the Tau, the Tyranids, right? The Orcs. Man, I mean, that would suck having a one that you're specializing with against the shit, I forgot the name of them, but they're, oh man, what are their names? shit, they were in the end of Space Marine 2 when you found out that it was a tomb world. Shoot, I forgot the name of them. But those guys, I can just imagine being an Inquisitor agent specializing against them. Man, it's going to come to me. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of them. Inquisitors of the Ordo often dedicate their lives and service to combating a single species above all else, for a number of different species in the galaxy is beyond count. And no Inquisitor could efficiently fight them all. They may be called to a battlefront to lend their expertise in thwarting their studied enemy. However, they are more likely to operate around the edges of Imperial space, where the Xenos threat is most diverse and humanity is more malleable to their corruptive influence. The Ordo's intent to cut off any invasion before it even begins, seeking out and combating secret infiltrations or campaigns or of underhanded influence throughout the Imperium's worlds. Many Xenos species aim to gain a foothold by subverting weak-willed citizenry, triggering them in with dazzling treasures and corruptive, esoteric ideals. But make no mistake, these citizens are no less guilty than the Xenos who corrupted them. The most Puritan Ordo Xenos Inquisitors safeguard their humanity without remit, declaring any Xenos as unredeemable as a filthy demon. They will purge first and investigate later. Sounds like the Black Templars. They will purge first and investigate later, expecting the same of their acolytes. However, a radical Ordo Xenos Inquisitor stance on human superiority allows them to make tools of the Xenos they encounter, deciding on how to best exploit them before eradication. They may allow their acolytes to work aside Xenos mercenaries or wield Xenos weaponry if necessary. And we see that in with what the Death Watch are using, right? Even Space Marine 2, where we have access to shit, I forgot the name of the alien race, but essentially you have that awesome sword that you have access to. Someone in the chat help me, because I'm forgetting the name of that particular Xenos, and I don't even have their figures for JOYTOY. God damn it, forgot the name of them, but it's all part of their tomb worlds and all that other stuff. So I guess that this is how the classes are going to work out in this game. Is it going to be Ordo Hereticus, Ordo Malleus, and Ordo Xenos, and then you're going to have specialties within there? So this is interesting. I wanted to get to see what the classes were. We'll have to do this on the next session when we go through this. But oh man, it's 2:22 right now. I think what we'll do is we're going to cut it off here, and then either I want to continue this, but I'm going to do this from my my desktop, or right where I generally stream from, because I'm going to try this with my Canon camera. So my R8, it's a much better camera. You're going to get a much better view, and you'll be able to see a lot better with the pictures. So the next time that we do this, probably Monday night, I'm going to do that, and we'll continue from this point. I figured this would take a while because I want to go in depth into each one of these books, and into each one of these particular sections of this book, because I want to get as much out of this as possible, especially because we got that Owlcat game for the Inquisition coming out, and I want to see JOYTOY come out with some Inquisition agents in the future. So again, we're going to switch it up. We're not going to do the mobile live stream, so if you guys are subscribed, you'll get the note. We're going to switch it to a full screen review next time. Probably Monday night we'll do the next one, but this was a lot of fun, guys. I had a blast. I want to keep doing stuff like this with you guys in the future. I want to read more of the fun lore and get into conversations with you guys more so. So, all right, guys. As usual, guys, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. All right, guys. I'm Wraith. I'm out. I want to say goodbye to you guys. Let me pull the camera off the stand. It almost broke my glass behind me. But, all right, guys. I had a lot of fun tonight. I want to continue doing this. So, again, if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll get a notice, or you'll get notification when we go to the next one, which will probably be on Monday night. and we'll continue on with this, but it will be a much better review next time. So, all right, guys. I'm Wraith. I'm out. Later, guys.